Hi there. Welcome to Bible/Chat. We're jumping into the conscience issue. And
Yes.
last time, as you very carefully analyzed for us, the issue of media, and it is so nuanced, right?
It is
you gotta be
very-
so careful because we
Yeah.
don't want to constrain the conscience.
No.
But we also, so we want to offer freedom, but then we also want to help people walk in the Spirit,
Of course.
be filled with the joy of Christ.
We have
which is-
to. Yeah. So that balancing that tightrope is very delicate.
Yeah.
We got to do it by faith and just trying our best to follow the principles that are laid out in the scripture, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, can of worms has been opened.
Yeah.
Now we're going down more worms.
Yeah, more
but this
worms.
one is more new. And we're talking about things like the legalization of marijuana and all of these substances that used to be banned and taboo, and like we would never even think that society would be not just open to it, but like allowing it, almost endorsing it.
Yeah.
So how do we, what do we say to a Christian who's like, why can't I do that?
Yeah.
Why can't I do those substances?
Yeah. The modern era, we're seeing a lot of that happen, right?
Yeah.
In Oregon, just
Right.
recently, Measure 110, it passed. It passed in Oregon. You can now carry personal use quantities of heroin, cocaine, meth, LSD.
Yeah.
25 hits of LSD you're allowed to have on yourself legally. There's zero criminal offense to be carrying around all those very, very strong narcotics.
Wow.
So all of that is total freedom now.
Okay.
And of course we would expect that, right? There's
From the world?
part of, the world is going to do that. And
Yeah.
really there's a piece of that should make sense to us because you can't legislate morality into human nature.
Right.
No matter how many laws we put in place eventually, no matter how much Nancy Reagan says, just say no. Just doesn't work, right?
Yeah, people will go back to
People
it.
will go back to it, and so the people are going back to it. But now there's more people going back to it than are staying away from it,
Exactly.
and now we have the majority passing the law.
Right.
So how does a Christian think about that? Right? We have
Yeah.
Romans 13. I want to submit to the government.
Yeah.
So to submit to the government, should I smoke marijuana?
Yeah, we're following the principles of the government. Yeah,
Is
okay.
it okay for a Christian to smoke marijuana, to do heroin, to do cocaine? Because the states legalize those things. Our answer strongly would be no on
Right.
all of those substances.
Okay.
The reason for that, personally, biblically, for me, is Ephesians 5:18,
Yeah.
which you covered very carefully when we were talking about alcohol.
Okay.
That verse says, "Do not get drunk with wine, for that is dissipation, but be filled with the Spirit." And so Paul sets up this contrast, right?
Yeah.
One is that you are controlled by something, a substance, in that case wine, or you're controlled by the Spirit. And what he's saying is you can't do both. You can't be controlled by a substance and be controlled by the Spirit. And so he sets a line between those two things. He says, if you're getting drunk, you're not controlled with the Spirit.
Right.
And I would say that includes not just alcohol, but
Of
any
course.
substance
Right.
that is mind-altering,
Right.
that causes you to be under its control. You are no longer functioning in the Spirit.
Right.
And if you're not walking in the Spirit, you're walking according to the flesh. If you're walking according to the flesh, you're sinning. And so when
Exactly.
it comes to the use of marijuana, methamphetamines, heroin, cocaine, all these drugs, LSD, your mind is no longer in control. You no longer have
I
self-control.
mean, that's clear cut. That's not a debate.
Absolutely. This
Yeah.
is, pharmacology.
Yeah,
they
that's what I'm
know
saying.
what's
Right,
happening inside the
scientifically.
brain. Yeah,
Right.
and so you're not in self-control.
Yeah.
You're not controlled by the Spirit. You're now being controlled by that substance. And if you're controlled by that substance, you're not controlled by the Spirit, and therefore you're sinning. And so
Right.
we would say all of those substances, even though the state says they're legal,
Doesn't matter.
for a Christian,
Right.
they're illegal. We ought not to do them.
Yeah.
That's a violation of the law. We should stay away from those things.
Right.
And encourage and counsel others to turn from those things as well.
Exactly. So, I mean, the broad principle here, like, just because something is legal doesn't mean it's righteous.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many
abortion,
examples of that.
for example.
Yeah,
Tons of things.
pornography. I mean, so many things where we can say, the state says that's okay,
Doesn't matter.
but that's not okay for me. I'm a Christian. I will turn away from what is immoral.
Yeah. So, so one question to add to that then. So if a Christian says, "Well, I'm not mastered by those things," that's that's not that big of a deal. I'm not using they'll make gradations. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Marijuana is not heroin, John.
Yeah.
And then what would you say?
I would say anything that
Just again,
controls your mind.
Yeah.
I go back to Ephesians 5:18.
Okay.
Anything that controls your mind is sinful.
Yeah.
And marijuana does that.
Yeah.
It has mind control over you. It is a mind-altering,
Yeah.
mind-changing
Right.
drug. Pharmacologists have shown this very
Yeah.
clearly. Now, that's not CBD, like the CBD oil and all those things.
No, that's not what we're talking
Those
about.
are separated from the THC, the thing that's actually controlling your mind, the thing that actually has those pharmacological results in your brain.
Right.
When that stuff's happening, you're not in self-control. You're not being controlled by the Spirit.
Yep.
Therefore, you're sinning, and you need to just turn from that stuff.
Yeah.
If you say, I have to have something to calm me down,
That's
I would actually say that's the problem.
That's the issue right there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 12. You're
Yeah.
being controlled by something. You are actually addicted to that thing. You need to turn from that addiction, walk by the Spirit, and be controlled by the Spirit.
That's so good. Because then again, it goes to that other principle you just mentioned about anything controlling you.
Absolutely.
Whether it's a legal substance,
Yeah.
illegal, whatever it is,
anything.
controlling you, then you're not being controlled by the Spirit.
Absolutely.
You're sinning.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Very,
that
very
makes
helpful.
sense. Thanks so much. Appreciate you.